Good afternoon, everybody. I know I've been away for a while, but we've had some new developments and had to get those things readjusted and set up. So now we're back to a journey in autism. Katrina, for those of you who have been watching the videos, welcome back. Make sure that you leave your comments, like, subscribe, and also you can share with anybody else that you feel may benefit from these videos. This video here, I'm going to discuss what happened after we received additional referrals from the Early Steps program, which were to occupational therapy, speech therapy, the audiologist, and I believe a neurologist, as well as a developmental behavioral pediatrician. I may be saying that wrong, but it's a baby doctor who pretty much can diagnose if there is a disability or whatever within 1 hour of you seeing that individual. So, first of all, just receiving all of those additional referrals was overwhelming once again. So I had to pick up the pieces, gather myself. Even though it was scary for me, I still had to go ahead and do what I needed to do to let's start getting the ball rolling to find out what was going on with our daughter. So my first step was to start to reach out to these different individuals and let them know, hey, you know, we've received these referrals for your services. We would like to make appointments. Well, for some of them, it was as simple as just, you know, making contact with the doctor's office or specialist office and letting them know what we needed and letting them try to go ahead and put us on this schedule. However, they asked what type of insurance she had. Unfortunately, at the time that these things was going on, which was about a year ago now. I think it's been about 1 year ago. It was the summer of last year. There was a freeze going on for the particular insurance that my daughter has. So that created more anxiety for me. The reason why is because they were saying, well, you know, we could put her on a waiting list, or they were, you know, far out. They were booked up. All these places booked solid, which was crazy to me because I didn't even realize that this many children was being affected by whatever was going on with my daughter, which at that time I didn't know. So I was calling around. I was just being very persistent, asking the people like, hey, well, you know, please put me on a list or call me if there's any cancellations or what have you. So we did, long story short, wind up getting in to first the audiologist. That one did not have a waiting list. I do recall that. And we went there. It was at the Early Steps program again, which is Mailman Center, because they have different, I'm saying Early Steps, but it's basically the Mailman Center. Early Steps was the program I discussed in the last video. And then in the whole building, they have different sections. So it is not Early Steps that had the audiology department, but they referred us to that department and it all connected. Nevertheless, we went there. I was nervous about it because I'm like, how are they gonna look in her ear or do anything when she doesn't even want anybody near her face for the most part. And once again, they made it great for us. We went inside. Nobody even came near her. They just put us in a room. They played these different little noises or sounds or videos or whatever on the left and the right of her, and depending on which direction she turned, as she heard things, that's how they did the test. So it was awesome. It was non-invasive and it was great. So that test came back normal. So her hearing was normal. We scratched that off the list and we was able to go to the next one. I believe after that we went to the neurologist. For that one, it was a little more complex. He had to, you know, do a little evaluation for her We did wind up getting into that one a little sooner as well than the other ones, but she had to wind up getting sent out to a hospital where they had to sedate her in order to do the EEG, or the brain wave test, which they wanted to do. And so that was a whole nother ball game, but we got that out the way. That test came out normal as well. They also wanted to do a genetic blood test to see if she was genetically predisposed to anything or what have you, and that came back normal as well. So scratch that off the list. Then I'm trying to remember because it's a little vague for me, but I believe the next step was to go to speech and occupational therapy. Those two were the ones that we was able to go ahead and get in a little sooner as well, only because I guess of prayer or what have you, because all of these places was booked up, and they were booked. They were saying it was waiting list. And so the reason I'm telling this story is because we were able to get in, but we got in because of being persistent. I was calling daily, asking for any cancellations. Will you guys be able to get us in any sooner? And I pretty much try to make a friend with people and just let them understand that there was an urgency for us, and if they can accommodate that, we would appreciate it. And we got in. So with the speech and the occupational therapy, I think it was maybe a month or two gap between when she started those. She did occupational first. We went there for an evaluation at a place called P.E.C.S. And I love it. We still doing that. It's been a year now that she's been doing that. And what occupational therapy is, for those of you who was like me who didn't know, it has to do with coordination and fine motor, which has to do with picking up things and grasping, being able to do stuff like tie her shoes, eventually zippers, buttons. Like those things don't come easy for her. But those are some of the things they help with, holding a pencil, drawing lines, making circles, whatever. Even with her walking, gross motor, which is using the bigger muscles and things like that, walking, running, just posture and upper body strength. So they work on all that stuff. It's almost like physical therapy, but more focusing on coordination of the entire body. So we started with that as far as the evaluation, and eventually got in to start those services. It's once, 1 hour a week for occupational therapy and 1 hour a week for speech therapy. So like I say, 2 months later, because there was a waiting list for the speech services, we did the speech evaluation. We got in on that, started that about probably a few weeks after the evaluation was done. And that was great. Of course, that's working on language development and things of that nature. Pretty much with our daughter, she learns through play because she's a little person. She just turned 3 last year. At that time, she was 2 years old. So they just have a lot of toys and books and things like that, and they use that to encourage speech. So if they're reading a story, they'll ask her to, what's that? That's a bear? Could you say bear? Or they'll ask her a color or a shape or whatever. So they use these different toys and books and things of that nature to encourage speech in her, which is really cool to watch. So we got all those things set up, all the services set up or whatever. And that was pretty much the process. Left early steps. They gave us a bunch of homework in the form of referrals. Let's get her out to these services. We know she needs speech. We know she needs occupational therapy. Let's make sure everything is going on good in the brain with the neurologist, as well as let's check out the hearing, make sure that she's not having any issues with her hearing, and that is not the reason for the speech delay. So we got all of that out the way. Then what I will talk about in the next video, because that's enough for now. We had to get an appointment with the behavioral developmental pediatrician. I may be saying it wrong, but it's those 3 names. But it's just basically a pediatrician that evaluates the behavior of the child to determine if there is some type of disability, or if the child has special needs or whatever. And that was the appointment that changed everything. Like, that appointment was the one. That was the main one that we needed. Not to say the other ones were not necessary, but that appointment right there was the one that we needed. It helped us to get on the right path to where we need to go, and it actually showed us exactly what was going on with our little baby. So, in a nutshell, this video, I hope it helped you guys to understand what happens after you go to the Early Steps program. They do the 4-hour evaluation of your child. Yes, they're going to give a lot of referrals, but even though it may be scary, you might not know exactly what all this stuff means, you just got to hit the ground running and just go and take the child to every specialist, every doctor. Let them do their due diligence, and this is the only way to get on the right path to where your child needs to be. It's a lengthy process, but it's very necessary. And I'm glad I did it. A lot of times I was nervous. A lot of times I didn't feel like doing any of the stuff. I was stressed out, anxious, all that stuff. And I bit all my nails off. I mean, it's not a fun time, but it's very necessary. And looking back on it a year later, I'm so glad. Like, I really am glad that I did everything that I needed to do right then. There was an urgency in me to just hit the ground running. And I'm seeing such awesome, strides in my daughter. She's like not even the same kid. One year later, she's not even the same kid. Like, she's so good now, like so sociable, and she's smiling so much. Eye contact has improved. So all of these things happen as a result of just being persistent and doing the work that needs to be done. So I hope this video has helped you guys. Once again, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, you may comment if you would like, and share it with anybody who you feel like could benefit. Once again, I do these videos because at the time I had no real point of reference for anybody who I felt like I could relate to pertaining to this whole situation with her having speech delay and just trying to understand exactly what was causing it and what we could do to get her on the right track. So thank you again for watching. I'm sorry it's been a while since I posted the videos, but we've had some things going on and all is well. So we appreciate you guys. And once again, this is a journey in autism. So I'll have more videos up more often. I'm planning on doing more. Probably I'm going to do another one within the next week. So thank you once again, and we appreciate you guys for watching.